And we're back with more forgotten 80s horror films. And last we left off with Pieces, which is a really, really fun Italian film. But next up is a pure cheese fest to the nth degree, and it's a really cool one. There's three of them, but I'm not sure if a third one was done in the 80s or not. I don't think it was. I think the third one was done in 1990, so we're going to bypass the third one, which is not really a bad thing, because the third one wasn't a very good movie. But the first two I have really, really major fun with. Slumber Party Massacre 1 and 2. Those are the 80s ones, so those are the only ones we can put in there. Slumber Party Massacre 1 was apparently written by I forgot. Oh, Rita Mae Brown, who was like a feminist, a very serious feminist, and she wanted to like a kind of like a satirical slasher film, because there'd been a lot of like heat on the slasher movies about like girls and misogyny and stuff like that. So she said, I'll make my own slasher film basically, and kind of like write my own one, and it'll be like the anti, like what people think type of thing. It'll like turn it so far on its head and be so like out there. It'll have like this whole feminist kind of slant to it. And it was actually directed by a woman as well, but it didn't turn out the way she wanted to. I think she wanted more of this more satirical, more less of a straightforward slasher. And in the end, Slumber Party Massacre came out as pretty much as a standard slasher film. But it's one that a lot of slasher fans like myself, also people like throw out these girls and like victimization and all this stuff. But Slumber Party Massacre was written and directed by a woman, as was Slumber Party Masker 2. Well, yeah, it was, and that is our go-to one. So, guys, or girls, horror fans in general, see, there are horror movies done by females. Well, there's a lot now. Just look at the American Psycho. Slumber Party Massacre 2 was a totally different beast than Slumber Party Massacre 1. Slumber Party Massacre 1 was a pretty much straightforward slasher flick, and it had some pretty cool people in it as well. And I think it had an early appearance by, what's her name? Brink Stevens. Yeah, Brink Stevens was in Slumber Party Massacre. Slumber Party Massacre 2, I remember seeing this. I'm a big soap fan from back in the day, so I used to watch a lot of Santa Barbara, which was very trippy, very different soap opera. I don't know what to compare it to today. If you guys watch any of that stuff, I'm not sure if maybe General Hospital if it gets really trippy and has Santa Claus in it, because Santa Barbara actually had a Santa Claus storyline. Seriously. And the guy that lost, a villain that kind of lost the body part every time he came on it, ended up in the end looking like a pirate and having a pirate crew. Worth watching. Slumber Party Massacre 2 is really, really different. It's very much it's more, this one is total satire. And of course it does that, Kimberly MacArthur, who took over for Robin Wright Penn as Kelly Capwell on Santa Barbara, and Heidi Kozak, who played Mary on Santa Barbara, who was the great love of Mason Capwell, who got squashed by the letter C off the Capwell building. Anyway, the Slumber Party Massacre 2 has a driller killer back. This time it's a very different driller killer. This one has guitar, is kind of like supernatural, comes right out of the 50s, is a cross between Elvis Presley and Andrew Dice Clay, sings and dances while he drills you to death with his driller guitar. There are some really trippy scenes in this. This one also, by the way, for fans of Wings, which is another an 80s like sitcom, has Crystal Bernard in that. And there's just some really trippy, really cool, freaky scenes. There's one about a pimple that turns giant with a huge... It's just really fun stuff. I mean, seriously, if you don't have this movie in your collection and you're a horror fan, just like shame on you. This is really cool. There's some really awesome stuff in here. I could do videos upon videos of this one alone. I could go through each movie and give a serious YouTube video on this on each one of these things, because there are so much good stuff here. And by the way, there is a fourth one that's not on this list, but it's kind of iffy on whether it's really one of the Slumber Party Massacre or not. Anyways, next up, and here's one that a lot of people would not consider underrated, would not consider underappreciated or forgotten, and that would be Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was a movie that does not get the credit that it deserves, because basically Texas Chainsaw Massacre just kicked so much ass that this one here was bound to be a failure in many people's eyes. And it was so freaking different. We got Dennis Hopper doing in this one with a chainsaw basically as in a holster. We have, I think Bill Moseley's in this one here. Just some really, really cool stuff. It's very comical, very dark humor, very different. It had to go in a different way than the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Honestly, they couldn't top that, so just like an Evil Dead, they had to go in a completely different way. For some people, it didn't hit all the right notes, but for me, it did. Didn't the first time I saw it, but on subsequent viewings, I really, really ended up loving this film. And it's directed by the original guy, and I like the look of Leatherface. I really kind of like that look there. It's kind of cool. And had a lot of fun with it. This is a gruesome edition, by the way. If you get a chance to pick that one up, it's a really good one there. This one's going to go into 3 parts because basically I want to make these into like short little videos and keep it going and keep them going steady. So here we go. Right now, I forgot my catchphrase last time, and I remembered it now because I really need it. It's time for tea, guys.